Watch KSTV weeknights at 7:30 and 11 Eastern, and anytime with Inside On Demand on Channel 103.
Tonight, joined again by Leslie Neely and our casting call finalist, Chris Labar. Chris, welcome to the show.
Big Man Thursday. That was some great reading material back there.
Yeah, I know. Perfect. That was a perfect start for Big Man Thursday.
Indeed it was.
Bachelorette.
And Leslie, welcome to you too as well. How are you?
I'm pumped for Big Man Thursday, just trying to fit in.
I know you're the perfect person to be here for Big Man Thursday. Let's get to the starting lineup. Now, the annual ESPY Awards were held last night in Los Angeles, and John Calipari was in attendance alongside Anthony Davis. Cats didn't pick up any of the 4 awards they were nominated for, but the rundown of some of the winners. Male college athlete Robert Griffin III beat Anthony Davis. Breakthrough athlete Jeremy Lin beat Anthony Davis. Coach of the Year Tom Coughlin beat Calipari. And best team Miami Heat. And to top it all off, best play was Christian Watford's shot to beat UK. Last night during the ESPYs, Chris, were you disappointed, or was it just a fun night to watch?
Well, honestly, I didn't watch it. And I think a lot of people maybe didn't watch it. I'm surprised we didn't win best team. But if it were the most popular team, clearly it's Kentucky, but Miami Heat should be best team.
Yeah, they had a great year. I only watched a little segment last night. I watched some of it this morning. But the Pat Summitt thing, the story about her and her son had my wife bawling her eyes out, which I will say my wife won't cry about anything, so it's not like a standard. But Leslie, what did you think about the show last night?
I did watch all of the ESPYs. I watched a lot of the pre-show stuff with the red carpet, which is really funny to see a lot of the little ESPN reporters next to those big guys. But I was actually surprised. I mean, my Twitter timeline was full of best team Kentucky, best team. So I think there should be a recount against the Heat. I don't think that was very fair.
Yeah, I'm surprised Anthony Davis didn't win at least one of those categories. Best male college athlete. I know football, it has a lot bigger following in this country, so that's not surprising. Robert Griffin III won the Heisman. But the other one against Jeremy Lin kind of surprised me because he sustained his success longer, Davis did, rather than Lin. Were you surprised that the Cats didn't win any of those awards, Chris?
Well, very much so. I think Lin playing in the largest media market or second largest media market in the country with New York certainly helped him. Outside of the region, as you mentioned, college basketball really isn't that prevalent. I think that was against Davis for sure.
Yeah, I'm tired of the Kentucky bias from ESPN, right? That's what everybody says now. Now, after being selected 46th in the draft a few weeks ago, Darius Miller was introduced as a New Orleans Hornet yesterday and had his first practice with the team. Miller, of course, joins Anthony Davis in New Orleans. They're both on the roster to play in the Hornets Summer League. You know, Darius Miller is beloved in Kentucky, Chris, but he's almost kind of the forgotten guy, I think, along with Marcus Teague, too, of the guys going to the NBA. Looking forward, do you think he's a guy that can immediately help them out? And what do you expect from him?
Well, I think they think he can help them out. I mean, Carl Landry is most likely going to be gone. The last time I was here, we spoke about Emeka Okafor leaving. They bring in Ryan Anderson. There's a position open, I think, for Miller to play the 3. The interesting thing is Monty Williams plays at Notre Dame, a 4-year player, played the same position as Miller. I think he sees himself in Darius. Yeah,
that's a great comparison. When you look at Darius, Leslie, what's his role in the NBA with that team?
Well, I think Miller's a steal. I think, all of UK fans understand that he can play a versatility of positions. He's a great mature guy. And I think being there with Davis, those two, I think that makes you so much more comfortable in such a big setting like the NBA.
Is there a guy, Chris, today Brandon Knight had, I think, 17 points, 14 assists. Is there a guy from the last 2 years from Kentucky that you're looking at in Summer League you want to see a big jump from, or are you excited to see how he's developed?
I think John Wall, I don't know, is he playing in the Summer League, by the way? Or?
He's playing with the Olympic team right now. He's going to play in the Summer League after that.
Eric Bledsoe, I think this is a critical year for him, year 3. He's a free agent to be next summer. I think that it's a big year forthcoming for him.
Yeah, and another guy, DeAndre Liggins, has been playing well, so it should be interesting. Lots of players to watch. Now, Tony Troca was a name we talked about for a while. He was at the Reebok Breakout Challenge yesterday in Philadelphia. The Colombian power forward is still uncertain if he'll classify with 2012 or 2013 recruits because of his SAT scores, but he's somewhat unknown. He's been playing for the Colombian national team. He resurfaced, said there's been minimal interest from Kentucky. Kind of seems to put the nail in that coffin, Chris. He talks about probably being in the 2013 class. So when you look at the 2013 class, he's probably not a guy that factors into it, but what do you like from that class?
Well, 7 of the top 8 guys from Scout.com list Kentucky, and you look at the Harrison twins, Andrew at number 2, Aaron at number 5, and then at number 1, Jabari Parker last night trims his list to 10. Kentucky's on it. Coincidentally, Louisville's not. Just a little zinger there.
Yeah. And Leslie, we've talked about several of these guys. Julius Randle will be on here. Tony Troca seemed like a player that was more to fill a need. They were thin inside now. Do you think Kentucky still has questions on the inside, or do you like what you're hearing out of camp about what they have to offer depth-wise?
I actually like what I'm hearing. I don't think Troca is actually going to provide that much. I mean, he's a very lanky guy, and we already have a lanky guy with Willie Cauley-Stein. And I think that what he did yesterday, he had to play against the Harrison twins, and he didn't do that well. He didn't impress on the court, so I think that it might be better to pass him up for 2013, and he probably won't come here.
Yeah, that's a loaded class. I don't know where he fits.
Exactly.
I will regret him not coming to Kentucky only because the only video we found of him from when he was like 12 years old, he was playing against little guys. And I like watching that video. Maybe we'll show it during another segment sometime for no reason. Now, after saying that DeMarcus Cousins needed to improve on his maturity before he ever put on a Team USA uniform, Chairman Jerry Colangelo was confronted by DeMarcus Cousins himself. Colangelo said, quote, "We had a discussion. He asked me to be specific. I tried to be responsive, and as far as I'm concerned, just bury it. It's a non-issue." It seems now, Chris, we've talked about this for a couple of days. It's been he said bad things about Cousins. Cousins confronted him. Now Jerry Colangelo, it sounds like he says, I just heard things from people. Let's be done with it. What do you make of this situation?
Well, I'm a little against the grain here. Frankly, I think Cousins can learn something from Colangelo. He's a 4-time NBA Exec of the Year. He's at the Naismith Hall of Fame. You know, maybe they didn't get along too well, but Cousins is 21, 22 years old. He can learn something, in my opinion, from Colangelo.
Yeah, you know, I think this was actually a sign. I wrote about it on the KSTV website that I think DeMarcus Cousins showed a little bit of maturity by confronting Jerry Colangelo, because it would have been easier just to pout and keep whining, saying everybody's out to get me, which is what guys that are labeled as DeMarcus Cousins has been labeled. They tend to do that. Now that this is finally over, Leslie, we can push it aside, be done with the whole thing. Do you think DeMarcus Cousins has positioned himself better to play for Team USA in the next Olympics?
I do. I think so. And I think pouty DeMarcus Cousins would have been what he would have done at UK. And I think that he's actually learned a lot by going up and saying, what did I do? What can I do better? And he's been praised by Coach K, you know, a lot of different players that playing for the select team that he's done really well. And he's got those young big wings and he's knocking down guys. And I think that he's in position to do better and be on the next team.
Do you think he takes a step forward in year 3, Chris? What was remarkable to me is I went and researched that thing I was writing. Second half of the season, he averaged more points than any center in the NBA, and he was the 3rd leading rebounder, only behind Dwight Howard and Andrew Bynum. Do you think he raises his game and becomes an all-star next year?
Absolutely. Year 3 is critical for him. And Cunningham, the columnist from Sacramento, was on your show this week and said the same thing. They think a lot about him, and next year it's a big year for Big Cuz.
It's funny, people that are close to him love him. People that spend time with him think he's the best, but it's the people on the outside that they play the game of telephone with each other. So it will be interesting.
Jared Swapshire doesn't care for him either.
Yeah, exactly. Jared Swapshire also does not like him very much. Now, just when you thought the Dominican team was done, they're actually going to be playing Team USA later tonight in an exhibition in Las Vegas. After 6 practices and scrimmages, Coach Cal's team will be the first to take on LeBron and company in a series of games. Coach K, who's leading the USA team, said he's anxious to play the Dominicans. Calipari said he might play some zone, do whatever. Basically, he is a servant to the Team USA at this point. Do you think this is the last we will see of Coach Cal with the Dominican team, Chris?
I do, but I don't think it's the last we'll see of him with the Olympics. I truly believe this is a transition period. I think he wants the Olympic job in 2016. And what a great litmus test for these Dominican players to play against the U.S. tonight. Should be fun.
Yeah, are you looking for anything when you watch this game? From a fan's perspective, to me, it just seems like it's more of let's watch Team USA tonight. The Dominican interest is kind of done since they're not making the Olympics. What are you looking for in this game?
I agree. I think the same thing. All the players that they interviewed seemed like they were just itching to get out there. I mean, they've had a few practices. They're probably ready just to get back on the court. And a lot of them are really excited to play the Dominicans because they got so close. They're actually a really experienced team.
Real quick, Chris, Kobe Bryant said that the current Team USA could beat the Dream Team yesterday. Do you think that's crazy?
I do. We've only got one big right now in Barkley and Shaq. Who's going to match up with those guys?
To me, I think that's ludicrous, but I mean, to each his own, I guess. Now, actually, we got a little breaking news now as we're taping. Anthony Davis has been asked, Chris, to report to Olympic training camp because Blake Griffin has twisted his knee. What do you make of Anthony? Got a shot at the Olympics now.
That's awesome. Very disappointed for Blake Griffin. Put a lot of time and effort, but kudos to AD.
Are you worried about your campaign now? The other half, Davis is gone. Davis Labar. Are you worried?
I'll be fine.
All right. Leslie, great opportunity for Anthony Davis. Do you look at this as a chance for him to even grow anymore? I know you talked about him taking a break.
I know. As long as that ankle's okay, I guess go for it. You got to take opportunities while the door's open.
And you know why this happened? Big Man Thursday.
That's right.
Big Man Thursday on KSTV.